Hi everybody, thanks for joining. In this video I'm gonna take you exclusively behind the scenes on how we shot the ending scene of the movie Se7en. It was a phenomenal masterpiece, the movie, and also our recreation turned out pretty well. If you haven't seen it already, check it out here.
Put the gun down!
What's going on over there?
Put the gun down.
Because I envy your normal life.
What's in the box? Show me the box!
It seems like envy is my sin.
What is in the fucking box?
Hi guys, my name is Paul. I'm a German-based cinematographer and this channel is all about filmmaking, gear reviews, but also DaVinci Resolve tutorials. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider subscribe and welcome into my new office studio. An office tour is coming. But today we are talking about the movie Se7en, or the ending scene. That was always a scene that always inspired me, and I had the idea for quite a while to recreate it. The reason why I did this instead of just shooting an own short film or something like that, I found the lighting and acting and everything in that so well, and for me that was the highest stake of cinematography, if you will, and also acting, and I wanted to do it myself to see if I can even come close to that. So planning took the most time for that, obviously. So first I needed actors, and here I reached out in several Facebook groups and was just proposing what I wanted to do. And I was not expecting much, to be honest, but I got so many requests on people who wanted to participate, and to my surprise, in a pretty short time I got 3 actors. Manuel, who played John Doe, then I had Kenneth, who played Detective Somerset, so Morgan Freeman, and I had Joe, who played Brad Pitt, and they all did an amazing job. So that was really crucial to have good actors and not just people that say, yeah, I can do it, because that's the most important thing. They are conveying the story to the audience. So then I also needed a couple of props, jacket, gun, whatsoever. So I ordered that on Amazon, and that was actually pretty 4 months before, something like that. So I already had everything when we wanted to shoot. The problem was there were so many people involved, and also from our side, from my crew, I had Philip as my first director, I had Lucas as my DOP, I had Basti who made sound, then I had JJ who made like this makeup, and Oscar as a runner. Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody for lighting and also as a first AC, but in the end we just thought let's do it, because otherwise it wouldn't have taken much longer. Because if there are so many people involved and you just need to find one day that fits for everybody, that was a real hustle. But also the location was very important, because in the original you see like there's a desert, and there are always like these electricity things, I don't know how it's called in English, and but we don't have like a desert here in Germany, so I needed to find something similar, and hopefully, or luckily, I found like a very big field, and there was also no highway or something like that, so that was very nice for the sound and everything. And there were also like loads of these electricity stuff. And so I found that, and I scouted it. It was like an hour away from here. I just found it on Google per coincidence and asking in my network, and then somehow I was able to find it. And also for the shooting, it was very important to have all the the allowance to shoot there. So I asked the city and said like, hey, we will shoot there, and if it's okay for them. So I needed to get their permission, and I also called the police saying that when we will shoot that day, so nobody should be scared when they see people with guns, because it's just us and acting. So that's also very important, and yeah, that was pretty straightforward actually. And on the shooting day we met like at 1 p.m. and then we were just like rehearsing. Everybody was getting ready, making the camera package ready, and so on and so forth. And in the end it turned out actually pretty well. Everything also from how we shot it went pretty well. We shot it in 3 scenes. So the first scene was like when he opens the box. The second scene is like the conversation between John Doe and Mills, and the third scene is when they all come together and the climax starts. So that was the most tricky scene, because that was also for the actors really hard to hit their lines and everything like that. And I was a little bit unprepared, because I had like a really nice paper as a shooting reference on what kind of coverage we need to shoot, but I didn't have a real script printed for the actors. I had it on my computer, but I forgot it, and now everybody was like, okay, what am I gonna say next? So that was a little bit annoying. We shot it actually on the red Komodo using the DZO Vespid primes, and we didn't light anything at all. So the camera and the sun was doing the heavy lifting. As I've said, I had nobody for lighting, and my initial idea was just bouncing, but then in the end it was too short amount of time, because we shot it in a couple hours instead of the original, who was shot in a few days, I think. So that was our issue, and the sun was setting then so fast, and we had to keep shooting. And actually for the last scene, so the third scene, the climax, we had to shoot so many coverage, and the sun was going down, and it was getting darker and darker and darker. So that was pretty hefty for us. On focal length, we actually mostly used the 50mm. We also shot something on the 75 and on the 35, and the running scene we shot on the 21mm, and everything was just shot handheld. And also for me as a director, it was very important that the camera movement is matching, because as you consider maybe John Doe, he's very clear, so the camera is really stable when we shot him. But if you pay attention to Mills, the camera is much more shaky, because his mind is just like going crazy, and I wanted to convey that also to the camera. And actually from dynamic range and everything turned out pretty well. I set everything to ISO 800, and we had like an aperture of between 2.8 and 4. And yeah, when grading, I pulled down everything about 1 stop, so I made it 1 stop darker, and then I put a little bit more green into the shadows and more orange into the highlights. And that was basically my overall. I did a little bit of finessing, of course, but basically that was the grading that I did. And for some people it was a little bit too dark, but I did that intentionally, because when I looked at the footage and compared it to the original, I wanted to feel it a little bit darker, so I also made it in post darker, and it was my decision. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Just tell me in the comments what you think about it. And yeah, everything else was just crazy actually. I had a friend who also composed the music for this, and he also did an amazing job. And also for editing, I actually was done with the rough cut in about a day, but I really took the time for like 2 weeks to really finessing it and trying things out, and it made such a huge difference in pacing just by removing some frames here and there, and it made the pacing, as I've said, much better. So also for you, just don't always just throw it out. So really take the time also in the edit to see what you can do better actually. And you will find something that you can do differently if you look at it over time. So and yeah, I can highly recommend to anybody just doing stuff on your own, because if it's a short film or something like that, you will learn so much and you can put so much creativity in it that you can't do in client projects, which we normally do. So therefore, that was a really fascinating time. Even though it was stressful, I loved it, and also the result turned out really well. And I also sent it to New Line Cinema. I also sent it to the editor of Se7en. I sent it to the screenplay, to the guy who made the screenplay for Se7en. And I also asked New Line Cinema to send it to David Fincher. And I got feedback from anybody, from all of them, and they were all saying it is really great. So that was really like, yeah, that was nice to hear that from high-end professionals from Hollywood, that they liked it and that we did pretty well. And that was everything that I wanted to achieve basically. And also the actors were really proud that they got this kind of feedback. And they did such an amazing job, really. And without making the video too long, if you have any further question, you know the game, just drop them down in the comments below. And I'm gonna see you in my very next one. Cheers!